Hey guys, welcome back to Real Talk with Lady T. So today we're going to be talking about Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 13. Don't go nowhere. So again, I always start off with a little bit from the Unfiltered episode. This Unfiltered episode had Dr. Viviana, Ryan, and Brianna. Now, the only main thing that I pulled from it was the fact that Ryan was in this one, and Jamie made sure she continued to ask him questions about their sex life. They brought up the part of the episode where Ryan and Clara had went to yoga, and Clara was really hoping that them going to yoga was going to make Ryan more sexual, or just bond with her a little bit more in that department, and it really didn't. And so Jamie was asking questions like, so how do you feel? What do you think? How do you feel about Clara speaking and venting to the girls about her frustrations? And Ryan was like, it's that's okay. It's okay for her to talk to her friends about how she's feeling. I do understand her frustration. And so he just seemed so understanding, but it was just one of those things where I'm just like, Ryan, like, come on. Anytime this girl is going off venting. So the first couple I want to talk about is Virginia and Eric. Now, the scene with them starts off with Virginia's sister and nephews coming over to visit. And you see that she's excited to see her family. And the nephews ends up leaving with Eric outside or to go do something while them two talk. And so I was a little bit like, when the sister, I don't know if y'all noticed, but when the sister was like, can I trust my kids with him? Like, what kind of question is that? But anyway, that kind of struck me. I was like, what do you mean, can I trust my kids with him? Anyway, Virginia was expressing to her sister, that Eric just seems like he can be a bit controlling at times, and that she does not want to live in his condo. She wants him to sell his condo, and she wants them to move somewhere together. Now, I do kind of got mixed feelings in reference to, the fact that she's renting somewhere. He has a condo that he owns. I feel like maybe an equal medium will possibly be she let go of her apartment where she live at. They do find a house to buy together, and he rent out the condo or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't know. She's saying it's something with the steps, with the dogs up and down the steps. And then she was saying that that she just wanted to somewhere that they can both call home together. And honestly, I feel like with some of her wanting to still rip and run the streets, and him and her being scared that he's really controlling, I feel like she's scared. And I said it in my other video, is she's scared that she's going to move everything and be there with him, and then she's going to be like a prisoner. And so while I do think that she does need to evaluate her drinking and evaluate her partying and try to make time for her marriage, I don't think nobody should feel prisoner or scared to fully commit because they don't want to lose their freedom. So then we go to Virginia, and she's meeting with Pastor Kyle. So Pastor Kyle's asking, like, overall, the temperament of what's going on right now in the relationship and how's everything going. And Virginia does admit to Pastor Kyle that it's really hard for her and Eric to have serious conversations. And when they do get to the point where they have these serious conversations and it gets out of hand, they kind of brush it under the carpet and they kind of move on or try to talk about something that's not as serious. She talked about her fear of being pregnant and her fear of being a bad mother. So you can see it all on Pastor Kyle's face, because he's like, why? Like, what's going on? What's wrong? And basically, she was talking about her own parents and when they divorced and the things they went through. And she felt like it was a tug of war and she was always in the middle. And that's her fear, that if things don't work out with her and Eric, that's what's going to happen with that child. So next we have Eric, and he meets with Dr. Pepper. And so they started off, Dr. Pepper like, so how's everything going with you in Virginia? And Eric's like, oh, it's great. It was chemistry right off the bat. We was this, we was that. Everything was good. Eric admits to it being some issues that they cannot resolve, and that usually when they try to talk about it, it just gets out of hand. And so y'all tell me what y'all think. But when Eric brought up the dog, and basically like, yeah, the way she's acting with the dog, and I need to be a part of the dog's life, Dr. Pepper brought up a good point. She said, okay, but why? Why is it so important for you to be a part of this dog? Like this dog is just, what if it was a child? Would you be that forceful that this child, I'm that child's parent, this child's going to listen to me, this child needs discipline, this child this? No, you probably wouldn't have been as, as on top of it. So why are you so honed in on being this dog's parent? Then they did talk about her drinking issue, and Dr. Pepper said, you know what? Talk to her about how this drinking. Honestly, I do think you both need to be in a sober mind when you're having these serious conversations. He was like, I don't think it's going to make a difference if I go try to talk to Virginia about it. But Dr. Pepper's encouraging him, but you do need to bring that up. So in the other scene with Eric and Virginia, you see them back at their house, and now they're trying to debrief about their meetings with the experts. And so Eric told Virginia, yeah, I talked to Dr. Pepper, and she said the whole dog thing, I should let it go. Like, just let it be. So Virginia, you can see it on her face. She like, oh, okay, good. Like, now she's feeling like things are going in her favor. But then he said, but also in reference to the drinking, I feel like we both need to be sober when we try to have these conversations. And of course, Virginia's offensive about the drinking. And she's like, well, I feel like even if we were drinking or not drinking, we still would have the same issue. And I agree. But I also agree, like, you can't continue to be high in the fact that you have a drinking problem. Like, I'm verbally saying it out of my mouth now. Virginia has a drinking problem. She does. And I feel like she tries to cover it up. Like, well, no, I'm young and I can hang out and it's a part of my life and I can do this. But it's almost like you're covering something with these substance, with this drinking, and it's like you need it, and you're compressing something. And so that's just my personal opinion about the drinking. But she basically brushed it off and said, I'm not having this conversation right now. She did talk about her fear of having children and being a bad mom, and how she feels when Eric says he's just gonna be done. So Eric basically said we don't have to stress about all of this right now. Also asked her, he said, if there's 4 weeks in a month, how about you pick a week and just have that weekend, pick a weekend and have that weekend about me and you. And so Virginia basically like, well, as long as it's planned, you can't just expect me to just stop what I'm supposed to do with my friends. So here we go again with your friends. And honestly, without the experts and without the cameras, I don't really know if this relationship will work because of stuff like that. Because she's basically like, so he's like, well, I'm your husband. Like, if I'm your husband, you need to cancel things for me. What do you mean you don't have to cancel? I'm your husband. You got to cancel them for me. And she really has a problem with that. So she's like, well, no, if I already got something planned with my friends, then I'm going with my friends. And if I'm going to do something with you, it need to be like, basically, like, you got to get on my calendar as my husband. Like, I got to make sure I can fit you in. That's the vibe I got from that. So my next couple that I want to talk about is Vincent and Brianna. Their scene starts off with them going over their budget. So Brianna and Vincent sitting down, they're going over their budget. She spoke about her hair, which is $250 for the month. She gets a waxing, $400 a month. She just went down the line of all the things she do. And you can just see it all on Vincent's face, because he's like, wait a minute, that's a lot of money. And so once they tallied everything up, the amount for the month came out to $9,127.50. I mean, I had to take a double look. I said, $9,000? That's almost $10,000 for the month? And so you can already see it on Vincent's face, like, this is not going to work. So basically, Vincent wants to save more, and he wants to be more mindful as far as spending. Brianna feels like, I worked hard for this money, so I want to spend the money. I want to do the things I want to do. She want to go on trips. She want to do things. I remember when they talked about going out on date night, the amount that he said we could put to the side for date night, she looked at him like, that's it? Yeah, we could do the finer things in life, but it don't have to be that often. And yeah, we can do a trip from time to time, but we really need to focus on our finances and our saving. Now, Brianna's an engineer. She's established. She has money. She probably, can budget that kind of money. With him, he just recreated, started a new career. He's going on his entrepreneur venture or doing his own thing now. And because of that, money is a little more scarce. And even if when it's not, I don't see him being a reckless. So now we have Vincent meeting with Pastor Kyle. So, of course, at first, the conversation, Vincent's like, yeah, from day one, we take care of each other. We connect well. I feel like she's there for me and I'm there for her. But then when he said, when I think of challenges, the challenges are our communication styles. You know, they have different communication styles. And Vincent did admit that he has a short attention span. So Pastor Kyle encouraged him. He said, well, think of some unanswered questions, because you guys need to get to the bottom of these unanswered questions prior to decision day. When you go into decision day, you want to have a clear mind of what your decision is and all the things that you've done lead into that point to make sure that that's the right decision for you. Well, he talked about the issue with him staying in bed, because basically Brianna was upset because he was sleeping in and she wanted him to get up. And so, because she's an early bird and she's up, but my thing is, if there's nowhere that y'all specifically going, why can't I lay in this bed? It's a pandemic still. Like, where we going? Right? He mentioned that to Pastor Kyle. He said, is anything wrong with me sleeping in? And Pastor Kyle said, no. Sometimes Vincent, sometimes you got to be selfish and you got to do what you need for you. And so if sleeping in means you need a little bit more rest, then you need a little bit more rest to your words. So I do see Vincent now at times. He gets snippy, he got his ways, but he also is a real caring, like real accommodating person. So because he want to accommodate her, he would make those changes, but it's like, that's not working for him. And so he has to be able to let her know, like, that's not working for him. And we see Brianna, she's meeting with Dr. Pepper. So basically, she talked about their highs. They love being around each other. They feel joyous for being around each other. They both caring and care for each other. She just loved being with this person. Challenges she said difficult communication styles. She said that right away, he waits sometimes to communicate how he feels. And with her, she want to get to the bottom. She talked about her fear of having children. And we already heard about this in another episode, but basically her high blood pressure, and she's afraid. She said, if I have high blood pressure now, what is going to happen when I'm pregnant? And I can be at risk, or my baby can be at risk. Dr. Pepper said, I encourage you to talk to your husband about your concerns. This is a valid concern. This is your health. And so you have to really explain to him. And we're not sure if he really understands the severity of what she's saying. Okay, so now we go to the part where Vincent and Brianna, they're meeting with the experts. And so basically, Brianna did talk to Vincent about his value of $1 and why he is the way he is about money. And Vincent said specifically, he said, I've been there and I've done that, and I want to be more strategic now. So basically, he just like, I want to be more smart with my spending. So then he brought up sleeping in, and he said, well, I want to know what's the problem of me sleeping in. If I want to sleep in, then I should be able to sleep in. She told him, well, maybe if you go to bed a little early at night, then you can get up early. Because most of the time you're on your cell phone at night, and when you're on your phone, it continues to keep your brain going. I bust out laughing. I chuckled. I said, yeah, here come bossy Brianna coming out. Why this man got to go to bed early? If maybe he don't want to go to bed early. You're not his parent. You really want to be a parent. You're not his parent. So if he want to be up a little late, he be up a little late. And if he want to sleep in, he should be able to sleep in. She brought up the situation of pregnancy, and that was the conversation. And she basically told him her fears of her high blood pressure and her fear of just being pregnant. He looked pissed, okay? Cannot imagine being on my deathbed and no children around me. And so that was deep. In 2 weeks, I'm going to either be a happily married man or divorced. And that was real. So my next couple that I want to talk about is Clara and Ryan. Now, this is an interesting too. So first we have Dr. Pepper meeting with Ryan. So Dr. Pepper meets with Ryan, and she asks about the high point. So he says, the high point is instant connection. We're just great together. We compliment each other, this, that, and the third. So when Dr. Pepper asked about challenges, Ryan said, I can't think of nothing. And so Dr. Pepper said, there's no human relationship that's perfect. So we mixed up somewhere. Have y'all spoken about religion yet? And as for how y'all going to raise your kids and things of that nature. And so Ryan said, we haven't gotten that deep into that. You know what? That is a good one. We probably should get more into our religion and the children. So Dr. Pepper brought up the sex thing, act of commitment. And so when she said that rung to me, because I was like, you know what? How about that? because he is a spiritual person. He is a religious person. And they know, even once you're in that covenant and you're married, they believe, that two married people can have sexual encounters, but they also know that that's mixing spirits. And so if he's not 100% committed to Clara, as even if they're on paper married and they did go in that covenant together, but if he don't feel like this is going to be something long term, he may not want to mix those spirits. He may want to save that for someone that he wants to really spend his life with. Then we have Pastor Kyle meeting with Clara. Same thing. He asked how's things going. Clara said things are going really good. So Pastor Kyle's like, okay, from a 1 to a 10, what would you rate your marriage? Oh, a 10 out of 10. First of all, I was here talking to the TV. I was blown away because I said, wait, all right, so y'all both, did y'all like plan this? Like, this is what we're going to say to the experts? Like, come on, y'all. You're not even doing certain things. Claire's frustrated and she's venting to all her friends. And y'all a 10 out of 10? Girl, bye. And so even with the sex, Pastor Kyle asked her, about the sex. And she said, well, I prefer to move forward, but I want to be patient. Okay? The final question that Pastor Kyle asked her, like, if what you guys are doing now is all you'll get for the rest of this marriage, would you be satisfied? And she said, no. Exactly. You guys need to test those things while you're in this period of trying to figure out if you're going to stay together or not. So now we have Ryan back together face to face so they can face the situation and what's going on. And he brought up the religion thing, and Clara said, same thing she said back when they were at the aquarium some episodes ago. Well, I am okay with religion and I'm open to it, but at the same time, I don't want to force my children. I want them to be able to make a decision. Now, come on, Clara, we got to be realistic. Children cannot make their own decision. So while they are young, you make the decision for them. And then when they get older, they can make a decision. He asked about the sex thing. And she said, every time I bring it up, I feel like I'm further and further away from it happening. And so she did ask him, she said, so, do you see anything happening anytime soon? And he said, I don't know. Now, the next couple I want to talk about is Jacob and Haley. Now, Jacob met with Pastor Kyle, and basically he said that he's physically attracted to Haley, and honestly, he feels like she doesn't want him to try. And it's kind of sad because he's like, I want to be there and I want to try, but I feel like she doesn't want me to. So then it makes me not want to. He said that he admires her determination and her strong will. So he's attracted to the fact that she's strong and that he does want to try. So now we see Dr. Pepper meeting with Haley. So basically, she asks, what are some good things? Let's start off with some good things about Jacob. And Haley said he's stable. He got his life together. And she was like, I can see why I can kind of see why I was matched with him because he is situated. Dr. Pepper asked, she said, I don't think you two know each other. You know what I mean? And I feel like they barely scratched the surface, and I felt the same way. Dr. Pepper said, it seems like Jake made a lot of changes and sacrifices for you, but you haven't made no sacrifices for him. And so they showed all the different things that Jake has done to change and things he's tried because she wanted to do it, not because he wanted to. So he has been trying. Dr. Pepper said that she was worried that Haley just wants someone to drop into her life and flow with her life. And Haley don't want to have to change anything or compromise anything. And so she started crying, of course. And she's like, oh, I just feel like a sense of failure. And so, I don't know. I don't think Dr. Pepper was really feeling that. She was like, okay. So then we fast forward and we see they're back at the house. Jacob talks to Haley. He said that he feels like this situation at Married at First Sight is his last chance at love. And it's kind of sad because he feeling like, I've been dating. And when she said, oh, but I asked you questions about, what you've been doing for the past 10 years and you couldn't tell me. And he basically said, it's because I've been dating. It's because I had an adventurous life and I did a lot with my friends and a lot of people around me. And all my friends got married and had children and had their own families. And so they got busy. So once they all got busy, I was on my own. I was alone. So then that's why I don't have a whole lot of other things that have been going on. Is because I've been dating, trying to find my person. And so it's the hint is the reason why I signed up for the show. So I feel like when he explained it that way, Haley was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. You know what I mean? So she's looking for these like clean cut answers, and it's not always like that. Jake asked her, what is the root of you needing space? Like, what is that all about? And she explained that because she was in a 5-year relationship with someone that was very controlling and didn't want her to do anything, it's almost like, it reminds me of Virginia. Like, I'm scared to lose my freedom. So the final couple that I wanted to talk about is Paige and Chris. I don't even consider them a couple, right? So first we have Paige, and she's meeting with Dr. Pepper. So Dr. Pepper first expresses how sorry she is that Paige is going through what she's going through. Dr. Pepper encourages Paige not to beat herself up about the situation. Paige said that the issue was the ex-fiance. She said, why would Chris even sign up for this show when he never shut that door? Dr. Pepper called him a narcissist, and she was very clear on how she felt about Chris. Why did Chris want you to meet his ex-fiance? She seemed very confused, and even Paige was like, I really don't know why. And Dr. Pepper said it. She said it like clear. It's because he wanted to hurt you. Dr. Pepper encouraged her, keep your boundaries and do not allow disrespect. Then we move on to Pastor Kyle meeting with Chris. Now, mind you, Chris is late as usual. Pastor Kyle's there. You see him waiting, and finally they ready to wrap it up. Like, okay, are we leaving? Are we wrapping this up? So I don't know if it's just me, but I felt like Chris was being really rude. First of all, you got there late. Then when he got there, he basically, was like, well, I tried to the best of my ability. You didn't try to do anything. He said, oh, it was the physical for me. I was not attracted to her face. Now, that was rude. I was like, here we go with him being ignorant, rude, and all he talked about is physical. And to be honest, if you see the matchmaking and you see his initial interview, all he cared about was attraction. Chris had the nerve to say, it's so many beautiful women, and y'all picked, and he went like this. And I was blown. I said, you know what? This dude right here basically just downplaying her looks, and it was really ignorant, and I really didn't like that. You've been engaged 3 times if you account now. And so he said it's about time, because none of those work. This is about time to start self-reflecting and seeing that you're the problem, not the women that you was with. So Pastor Kyle felt like that Chris owed Paige an apology. And so basically Chris was like, I can't apologize. I'm not going to apologize. So he basically didn't feel like he owed her an apology. It was just sad just to watch how Chris was talking about Paige and how he was acting like she was just a nobody. It was just upsetting. So basically you see Paige, she's back at her house and she's packing, and it's just a sad ending. It's like, okay, I'm packing my stuff. I'm really moving forward, and I can't wait to see what the rest of my life is like. And she just basically said she just can't wait to just be able to move on with her life. Okay, guys, that's all I have for you today. Let me know what you think down below, and I will see you next week for a new episode of Married at First Sight. Have a good day.